Welcome to episode 5. During this episode, we will focus on the victories that selected women have celebrated as they've served as senior pastor in a Black Baptist church.
Surviving.
Yes.
Surviving.
Yes.
28 years. I mean, when I first started pastoring, I said to the Lord, if you help me to make it 5 years, I'll be satisfied. And to be sitting here talking to you 28 years later is a miracle.
Mm.
And it's nothing but the grace of God. And so I would say that is, and to be able to pastor in such a way that I would hope has communicated to others that women really can lead. And so I see other churches call women, and I like to believe it's because they've looked at people like myself, like Cynthia Hale, like Annie Lane Blake, who is now serving as pastor, like other women who have served as pastors and done it successfully, that it has given other churches the courage to step out and call women.
My greatest victory is bringing the love back into the church. I believe I've run into so many people that have been hurt in the church. And this has been one of the things that I always say at the end of, usually at the end as I'm opening the altar, is that I say, we're a church that will pray with you and not pray on you.
We are growing fast. In fact, this Sunday, I'm baptizing another 13 people, and we're confirming another 29 into membership. And we've pretty much every month since I've been the senior pastor of Shiloh, we've had baptism candidates and new member candidates. So we're inching probably over 300 new people in a year and a half. And so it has also been kind of a challenge while that has been a huge victory because people say the church is no longer relevant, Black church is dead, and yet here's our church is growing. So that's been a victory, but also it's been a challenge because that means that now I'm having to figure out ways to bring 3 congregations together, right? There's folks who were here. There's their children who grew up here but left and now are coming back, right? And then there's almost 300 brand new people,
right?
Who Shiloh, they're new to Shiloh,
right?
And so I at different points, it's never just at one point, right? But at different points, I am talking to 3 different congregations in the same room, and so even watching one of the greatest victories. Is our assistant pastor who's been here for a long time, and she served in a lot of capacities. She leaned over to me one Sunday and she said, "Pastor, it's all coming together." And her point was, it doesn't feel disjointed anymore, right? So at least for that week, right, we were one unit and it's working, and the people are merging and whatever. We're becoming one Shiloh. And obviously that's a constant thing because as long as there's new people coming, we're always going to have to, right? And then not just the new people coming, but people are growing. People are growing spiritually. People are growing, socially and things like that. And so they're not the same as they were a year ago. And so, so I think that's been a challenge, is like keeping my finger on the pulse of all of those dynamics. But obviously church growth, not just, numerically, because we do like to see new people coming to the Lord, but also spiritually, that seeing the church become vibrant again and watching people dream again and hope again. Those have been, some of our victories.
I think, the greatest victory has been seeing the transformation in the congregation. I mean, there were members at the beginning that were very honest and transparent with me. And they said, like, Sierra, I'm having a hard time accepting you as my pastor because I still see you as a baby. And then there were some members that said, like, you can't, there's nothing that you could teach me, right? And, being able to hear their testimonies now with them coming back to me saying like, Pastor, you scratched me, or, Pastor, I never thought about it like this, or, like you helped me with my walk of God. That's what it's about, being able to see those transformation in the individual lives of the people you serve.
Uniting the church. It was my greatest challenge, and it's been my greatest victory. Bringing them together in a spirit of unity. It took all of this and then some. So that is something that I wear with pride, because I got to see that happen. The fact that my church had high pastoral turnover. I'm the 14th pastor. I became the 14th pastor at 106 years old. And so most pastors don't last at this church 3 years. So the fact that I'm in the top 3 that have pastored this church longer than 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be. So there are 3 things: unifying the church, bringing us together in spirit of unity, outlasting so many. 11 of the 14 to make it in the top 3 that last 10 years. And going into the 11th year, I will now be one of 2. The pastor that was there prior to Jones was there for 40 years. And now I will be the second highest that's been there 11 years.
Wow.
And then taking the church digital, because our infrastructure was strong. Financially, our church was strong, but operating in the spirit of love, peace, and unity was something we were not.
I would say my greatest victory is staying in the race. I quit every day. One of the scriptures that I remember from my teenage years was John 9:4. I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. For when night comes, no man can work. And it is about who sent me, who told me. And so I think that the victory is just keeping going, even when I stop. To don't stop for long, to keep going. I remember, Dr. Wendy, sitting on, I take these long walks and I talk to God. I remember early on when I started the church, I told the Lord, you're going to make a fool of me. And the Spirit said so loudly, but you've been a fool for so much less. I'm like, Lord, you're right. I might as well be a fool for you. But I think the victory is to continue to do what God has called me to do, no matter how that looks to other people.
I guess the greatest victory is that they do care about each other now. There's a sincerity about what they do. There's a genuine connection. I enjoy seeing people transform, and I've had many of them do that.
Taking a traditional church, taking a church that says there's no way a woman can do this, and my goodness, watch God do what God does.
2 of my books are self-published, and they're all on Amazon, though. So 2 are one is called The Other Side of Through, Messages of Hope, Justice, Faith. Messages of Hope, Justice, Faith, and Empowerment, The Other Side of Through. And so those are a collection of sermons. The other one is 40 Days of Biblical and Cultural Insight into the Black Panther movie. And so that was when the first Black Panther movie came out, and I did a full devotional for that. It was really supposed to be just for my church, because I had cancer also in 2017. And so after I was away from the ministry for a few months, had cancer. And so a lot sort of, when you're sick like that, the days and the months just kind of merge together. And so when 2018 rolled around in February, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, Lent is coming. What? I don't even have a Lenten program for my church. And I was always, and I still do, look through popular culture with a biblical lens. And so I've done sermons on Star Trek. When Leonard Spock died, I did a whole sermon series on Spock, in Star Trek, and all these things. So I did one when the Black Panther movie came out. I just knew I had to do something on that. And so it came out the day the ebook rather came out, the day the movie premiered. And people, how was I able to do a devotion the day the movie premiered? That's another story for another time, as far as my research techniques are concerned. But it was a bestseller. If you go on Amazon, you'll see great reviews for it. The third is a diversity and inclusion book. I have my own business too. I don't think I mentioned that. Diversity, equity, inclusion. And so that book I co-authored with a white sister, Jennifer Wisdom, and that's through her publishing house called Wisdom Publishing. I think it's called Wisdom Publishing or Winding Pathways. I don't remember, but she had me to be the primary author on that.
Probably my greatest joy is watching the change.
Right.
Continuing to fight that fight and having people say how much the ministry has meant to them. And now after almost 3 years, watching new folks from the community who are broken and who have been going through come in and find comfort and find what their soul is longing for through this ministry. And the folks that are here seeing what I've been talking about for almost 3 years.
Well, I think, just teaching the whole concept of, we've always operated in a family kind of way, in the sense that teaching people how to be honest and open in dialogue with each other with differences, bringing in, a diverse group of people, because I wanted it to be a place where on a Sunday morning you could have hats and suits and do-rags and jogging suits and jeans and all of that, and everybody would feel comfortable, and that's the kind of place it is.